Federal government's health initiatives gaining support, with the Gates Foundation focusing on Nigeria to eliminate malaria within the next 20 years. Vice President Kashim Shettima visits Mokwa in Niger State, announces 2 billion naira intervention for flood victims. And Nigerian Society of Engineers urges engineers to lead digital transformation for national development. Hello and welcome to the late evening news at 11 on NTN News 24. We are live in Abuja. I am Chinenye Ngoye. Federal government's efforts in health is gaining more support as the Gates Foundation says Nigeria will remain prominent in its humanitarian programs, particularly as it targets an end to malaria in the country within the next 20 years. Co-founder of Microsoft and co-chair of the Gates Foundation, Bill Gates, made new commitments after President Bola Tinubu conferred a national honor of Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic on him in Lagos. State House correspondent Musbau Danwahab reports.
Acknowledge one of the greatest human beings that the world has brought. All I need to say is thank you, Bill Gates, for your indivisible commitment to humanity. It is highly remarkable. It's an inspiration to leadership across the world, including the one standing before you. I thank you very much.
President Bola Tinubu this Wednesday received the popular Lagos pastor and former presidential running mate, Pastor Tunde Bakare. Pastor Bakare, who was the running mate of former President Muhammadu Buhari in 2011, President Tinubu at his residence. State House correspondent Musbau Danwahab had a conversation with the pastor who has been expressing his reservations about President Tinubu's administration lately.
Sir, we have you in the country as one of those who speak truth to power, and you have demonstrated that recently, expressing your views about the administration. What specifically are those things you have reservations about?
Well, it's not about just reservations. It's about how the country will go well. My life, personal vision is to see a nation that works in my lifetime. And those things I've discussed with Mr. President. They're not hidden things, but I've learned that when you discuss with the person in charge, you leave it with him to do whatsoever he wills with what you have suggested. So I've had a private conversation with Mr. President, and I'm glad that he received me well. And I trust that God will help our nation.
What areas specifically do you want him to improve on?
I've just told you what transpired in my discussion with him stays with me and with him. God guiding him and giving him wisdom will help this nation not to slide or go down the drain, but to bounce back so that it can leave a mark that cannot be erased.
So Now, what do you like to see in the next 2 years of this administration?
Well, I like to see a peaceful nation. I like to see Nigerians being their brother's keeper. I like to see good collaboration between the best of the North and the best of the South to steer Nigeria in the right direction. I like to see predictable progress in our nation. We have danced around some subjects for too long a time. It's time to take concrete action to ensure that the masses of our country do not live in abject poverty. That's all.
Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has released 2 billion naira for immediate intervention to Mokwa flood victims. Vice President Kashim Shettima disclosed this during an on-the-spot assessment and condolence to the people and government of Niger State. Musa Mikhail reports.
The visit by the Vice President Kashim Shettima to Mokwa was to condole with the people and government of Niger State on the last Thursday flood disaster that has so far claimed more than 160 lives. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, assured the people of Mokwa the federal government will build new homes through ACRISA for the affected victims, even as he called for partnership from both the state and local government.
On the relocation and reconstruction of homes for the affected victims, the President has authorized the immediate release of 2 billion naira to immediately commence the construction of homes destroyed by the disaster. But most importantly, I want to seize this opportunity. It takes two to tango. Niger State government must also play a role in this action.
Niger State government, on its part, will match worth with action by ensuring that the people don't stay long in the internally displaced persons camp.
Most of these women, we don't want them, after 3 weeks advocacy, we allow them to languish in this situation. We want the federal government to help the states by empowering these women so they can have a skill.
We want to express our gratitude for praying to Allah to guide the government under the leadership of Mr. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Continue to cater for the people, to move the people, to enhance their standard of living, and to promote their security.
The event also witnessed the distribution of food items donated by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. Musa Mikhail, NTA News.
The House of Representatives is strengthening bilateral and parliamentary relationship between Nigeria and Canada aimed at promoting economic cooperation, parliamentary ties towards fostering developmental strides. Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Nigeria-Canada Parliamentary Relations, Abiodun Francis, stated this during the committee's visit to the new Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Issa Mohammed has more.
Nigeria and Canada have a long-standing relationship with cooperation in trade and investments, education, parliamentary ties, among other areas. The chairman, House Committee on Nigeria-Canada Parliamentary Relationship, Abiodun Francis, explains that while there are challenges to overcome, Nigeria and Canada parliamentarians explore opportunities for growth and development of the two nations by working together to achieve greatness.
And they have supported us immensely in agriculture, in engineering, and of course in military. And they are still ready to support us. And they are still supporting us in multinational and international organizations. They deploy their support to us through multilateral organizations.
From the National Assembly, Issa Muhammad, NTA News.
The Leaving No One Behind session of the ongoing 2025 Global Platform on Disaster Risk Reduction in Geneva, Switzerland, advocates policy reviews that allows for inclusion at all levels. Participants also made a case for open data, open research, and community engagement, which is key to the successful implementation of the Sendai framework. Mina Daniels reports.
Ala El Nadi coordinates the activities of people living with disability in Egypt. Tells me behind cameras that indeed life for people living with disability during disaster times could be horrible.
If we take care of them, and of course people all the time say, okay, we need to take care of inclusion of people with disability during their daily life. If you take care of people with disability during day-to-day life, you have to take care of them during disasters.
The Sendai framework is strategic in the accomplishment of disaster risk reduction. Speakers in the multi-level sessions of the ongoing global platform on disaster risk reduction agree that though disasters apply multi-measures in diverse regions, applying international strategies in reviewing the Sendai framework is apt in mitigating consequences of disaster.
Women play an important role in ECODIA because they are working directly on the field to handle their livelihood, which is very vulnerable to the extreme climate.
Bearing in mind that no one is isolated from disasters, conversations are thrown towards infusing wisdom in leadership mechanisms for disaster risk reduction by redesigning plans and efforts to suit regional disaster situations. Stakeholders believe that the remaining 5 years of the Sendai framework can still be channeled towards ensuring a comprehensive policy plan to reduce the risk faced by women and girls as well in the fight against disasters. In Geneva, Switzerland, Minna Daniels, NTA News.
To tackle the perennial challenge of building collapse and other engineering problems in Nigeria, the Nigerian Society of Engineers has commenced training of its members in the use of data analytics and digital transformation to provide solutions in the field. NSC President Margaret Oguntala at an event to mark the completion of specialized professional development training for young and senior engineers says the NSE is committed to building capacity of its members to compete globally. Ekene Ndului reports.
In recent times, building collapse and other infrastructure failure remain recurrent in Nigeria. However, the integration of artificial intelligence and advanced technology offers a transformative solution. Through real-time structural monitoring systems powered by AI, engineers can predict and prevent failures before they occur. Sounds like a tall order, but seemingly, that and other engineering solutions is the target of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. To drive this innovation, NSE has completed training for the first set of 117 young and senior engineers on the use of data and digital transformations.
As far as the industry is concerned, once we have greater knowledge of the Internet of Things, of artificial intelligence, and all that, we'll be able to deal more with the perennial issues, whatever issues there are, whether it's building collapse or dam or any collapse of any kind of infrastructure for that matter, even in the power sector.
For these engineers, the training goes beyond mere certification.
This training has injected a lot of current knowledge on the digital space into Nigerian engineers who participated.
I look forward to developing systems that can streamline construction processes and also reduce the major problems we faced on construction sites.
NSE says it is also driving the innovations down to the school levels and has announced it is commencing the Nigerian National Engineering Olympiads for Nigerian universities. In Abuja, Ekene Ndului, NTA News.
Once upon a time, the forests in Nigeria were sacred, revered by communities for their bounty and mystery. From the vast Sambisa to the thick groves of Zamfara and Katsina, this space is pulsed with life teeming with wildlife, medicinal plants, timber and water sources that sustain entire generations. But over time, this green havens transformed. What happened? Charles Alpha tells us all about it in this report.
For generations, farmers tilled the rich soil the forest had to offer humanity. Hunters brought meat to the villages, and elders passed down legends of spirits and ancestors that watched over the land.
These people get their livelihood like fish, like periwinkle, and other things around that place.
Most of these banks grow cocoa trees so well, both kola nut trees and cocoa trees.
If they want the food that will make them sleep, they know the food they will give from the forest. If they want to get some animals, they know what animals and where to go to get that animal.
But as time passed, all these became a distant folklore many of the present generation wouldn't believe existed. This is because insurgents, bandits, and terrorists now use these places for carrying out unimaginable terror. In the depths of Sambisa Forest, Boko Haram found sanctuary, building a base to launch attacks, kidnap school children, and challenge the sovereignty of the Nigerian state. In the northwestern forest, armed bandits established camps, carrying out mass abduction, rustling cattle, and extorting rural communities.
A lot of arms get into circulation in Nigeria through the forest.
The forest turned lawless, ruled by militias and warlords who thrived in chaos. Residents near these forests fled their homes, with schools shut down and roads deserted. The sounds of birds and rustling leaves were replaced by gunfire and the cries of the displaced. The forest, once a symbol of life, had become a corridor of death. But is there hope? The Nigerian government has launched a series of military operations aimed at reclaiming these territories. Operation Lafia Dole in the northeast, later renamed Operation Hadinkai, targeted Boko Haram's strongholds in the Sambisa forest. Drones, fighter jets, and elite troops began relentless campaigns, flushing out insurgents and rescuing captives. Beyond military might, there have been calls for integrating vigilante networks into formal security structures. Forest guards who often man these forests are without arms that measure up those carried by the insurgents.
Request that the office of the NSA looks into the issue of strengthening the national parks by way of providing more ammunition.
Only recently, the president announced the establishment of forest guards for states, a show of efforts to reclaim the forest.
The recruitment of the forest guard is a gradual process. 1. 2. We must begin to allow communities take their roles in forest management.
With a renewed focus on reclaiming these green lands, there lies a chance not just to fight terror, but to restore the forests to what they once were, a sanctuary of life, not for death. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
This is the late evening news at 11 on NTA News 24. We'll take a break here. There will be more reports when we return. This day.
You educate a girl child, by extension, you are educating the world.
If that man was actually given 10-15 years, I don't think he will be coming back again to come rape the same child again.
If you choose a criminal as your role model, there is every possibility that you will find yourself in jail.
30 Minutes is a current affairs program that offers our viewers in-depth analyses on national and international issues through expository interviews and investigative reportage. Watch 30 Minutes on NTA News 24, Thursday, 6:30 p.m. with repeat episodes Fridays and Saturdays, 6:30 a.m.
Welcome to 30 Minutes on NTA News 24. The clock is ticking.
Thanks for staying on. Nigeria's civil service is pivotal to policy formulation and implementation for the growth of the nation. This all-important role of the technical arm of government is better delivered with leadership built on integrity and professionalism within the sphere of national interest. How well leadership has impacted the evolution of top-level public servants in Nigeria in the last 5 decades is espoused by a career diplomat in a book. Deborah Balabobo reports.
Though ignited many years ago, the effect of ills in leadership selection in Nigeria's civil service in the past still ripples with no end in sight. For those who have followed trends in the system, they assert that it is the outcome of sentiments that elevated preference above professionalism, and the consequences abound. A career diplomat who started from the foundation of Nigeria's civil service, Ambassador Goke Adegoroye says he is among the few fortunate found out of merit and the tough stand of the principled for leadership role.
Like begets like. When you choose somebody who doesn't have confidence, who doesn't, as a leader, who knows that the director even knows more than him, how can he command? You see that kind of person manipulating the director and so on. And this I had seen over the years, and I feel bad that it still continues, even in my retirement. And when you see the book, you see how those who are there now are really lamenting.
There were many more, brilliant and professional, but relegated for those with political connections. It is a dicey situation that requires deliberate long and short-term plans to fix in order to save the engine room of Nigeria's government. Ambassador Goke shares lessons to put the civil service on a trajectory that lands safely on integrity and efficiency in his book, Leadership in the Nigerian Civil Service.
If we continue to reward mediocrity, we cannot complain when excellence takes a back seat. If we fail to build leaders, we cannot be surprised when institutions collapse. Our young people are watching, but watching is not enough. They must be engaged.
That we must discard any modesty, any preoccupation with other engagements, and put down for posterity.
It is our hope that this book will serve as a guiding resource for public servants, policymakers, scholars, and all stakeholders who are interested in the development of our administrative institutions.
As penned by the author, it will take the will of the political class for integrity in the selection of civil service leadership to catalyze the emergence of good governance in Nigeria. In Abuja, Deborah Balabobo, NT News.
The federal government has pledged robust communication and advocacy support for the upcoming nationwide measles rubella vaccination campaign scheduled for October 2025. This is from the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, when he received the Center for Wellbeing and Integrated Nutrition Solutions in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Measles rubella is a contagious viral infection known by its distinctive red rash, low fever, and other symptoms. It is contagious from person to person and can be prevented by vaccine. This is to raise public awareness ahead of a health campaign on the life-saving importance of the measles rubella vaccine in Nigeria.
A vaccine that is alive, live vaccine means that when it gets to our body, it stimulates immunity and you have a response. So when the disease affects you, you've already have something to protect you. It's a combination of two serious diseases. What could be more? You combine measles with rubella.
The host reaffirmed his task to, among others, lead the way by providing the necessary tools for publicity to update Nigerians on reforms in the health sector while supporting efforts aimed to guarantee the safety of lives and property.
One reason why you have children who
are either born deaf or blind or have holes in the heart is because of this measles rubella. This is great education for us, and it is our responsibility as Ministry of Information and National Orientation, together with all the agencies, especially the National Orientation Agency, to work with you to get this message out to Nigerians. We have no choice but to do that because this is largely the primary responsibility of this ministry.
That is not all. He emphasized the ministry's readiness to co-develop strategic messaging and support public education efforts nationwide. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
In line with the federal government's declaration of public holidays to mark the Eid al-Kabir celebration, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, says it has deployed 28,000 tactical operatives across the country. A statement by the national spokesperson of the Corps, Babawale Afolabi, stated that the Commandant General Ahmed Abubakar Aoudi, saying the deployment is part of the Corps' commitment to safeguard lives and property before, during and after the festive period. The statement has directed personnel to work in close collaboration with sister security agencies and engage local communities to ensure a coordinated and effective security presence nationwide. It further called on the public to support the Corps' efforts and remain vigilant, share timely and credible information that can aid security operations. And that concludes the late evening news at 11 on NTA News 24. Many thanks for watching. I am Chinenye.